Hey everyone, welcome to LatinXcellence in Iowa. Today you're going to find me with a dear friend of mine, Jo Diaz. Jo Diaz is a drag entertainer, a leader here in the Siouxland community in makeup art, artistry, and also they're cosmetologist in training at the Lamar's School of Beauty. Thank you for being here with me, Jo.
Thank you so much for having me, Victor.
Happy National Coming Out Day. Today we're going to be highlighting the intersectionality of queer identity, especially within the Latino community here in Iowa. And Jo is a great expert on this topic, and I'm so excited to hear their insights. Could you please tell me your pronouns?
Yeah, absolutely. I go by they, them pronouns. I also go by she, her pronouns. I am on my way to like transition, and so I am currently going through they, them, she, her pronouns.
So I guess I'll start off with my first question. So what is your background? Where is your family from? Are they immigrants to Sioux City?
They are. We've been in the United States for exactly 19 years. We originally came from Cuernavaca, Morelos in Mexico. We migrated to California, lived there for a couple years, and then we moved to Iowa. And we've been here since then.
Did you ever find a strength into being and kind of being able to navigate among two cultures, even three cultures, because of your queerness?
Yeah, I felt that one of the main strengths was just the adaptability, you know, like being able to adapt within the three cultures, and being able to really connect within all three cultures.
Yeah,
you know,
and find like where they intersect, and even just like the differences and commonalities. I feel like that's even cooler too. What makes you so passionate about makeup, and how did you find that passion?
I felt like it really started when I was in high school. You know, I would always spend my time in my lunchtime in the art room, and just doing watercolor. Watercolor was like my way to like really express like my thoughts and basically my thoughts. And the brush strokes and the colors, even like the color theory, just reminds me of makeup, and that's why makeup was so easy for me to like, you know, pick up on. So I started with myself, you know, applying makeup on myself and really like practicing, perfecting the skill. It took more than I thought, you know.
It takes a lot of talent.
It takes a lot of talent, But it was amazing, and I just looking back is really it's great to see
the progress and the growth. I know you're currently a cosmetologist in training at the Lamar School of Beauty. What is cosmetology?
Cosmetology is a study of beauty, you know, hair, makeup, nails. It really focuses on the beauty world, and I feel like the best thing about the beauty world is being like the day maker, being a day maker, you know, being able to making people feel confident in themselves, and just being their way to like self-expression, or you know, and just overall letting them kind of like express how they want to feel through, you know, hair or makeup or nails. And it's overall my favorite part is just seeing the smile on their face at the end of the day.
And that's so awesome. But also I think that is beauty is something that makes people feel confident, right?
Absolutely.
And it's cool that you love the whole process of like applying makeup and color theory, right, and all that, but you really love almost like the gleam people get after. Right? That's so cool. So what is like the trajectory of someone trying to become a cosmetologist?
So the whole program is a total of 2,100 hours. You have to complete those hours in order to take your exam, which just like a nurse or, you know, lawyer, you have to go through the
exam,
the boards, and you know, take the exam, and then once you pass the exams from the school and from the boards, you are, you know, licensed after that. And then after that you are able to start, you know, really working with people.
And you slowly start getting those skills, so that you're right, as a teacher, as a lawyer, and especially as a doctor, You have to go through those practice hours, the practicum, and you have to spend time in the classroom, right? And you have to spend time in the salon practicing on people, right?
Exactly. I felt like it was very lonely, you know?
Yeah.
I really didn't know that many people to, you know, relate myself to, or, you know, to ask questions about. You know, I started wearing makeup, and that was just through, like, self-confidence, you know? And for me, it was like, if people have something to say, they'll say it, but at the end of the day, like, I'll go home and it won't bother me, because, you know, I know myself, and they're not paying my bills, or not, you know, they're not going with me, they're not going home with me at the end of the day, so it didn't matter. So I felt like I really had to, like, grow and, like, really build that self-confidence to, you know, be myself. You know, I had no one else to look up to besides, like, you know, your typical, like, RuPaul, or, you know, your gay idols on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. But here in Sioux City, I didn't really notice all that much. But now that I've, like, you know, entered the drag scene and the beauty world, I have noticed a lot more people, and honestly, the community is it's so kind, and it's so wholesome, and overall, it's very welcoming.
Yeah, and I also love your statement about confidence, right? I think at the end of the day, when you do go out and you transition to college or after high school, I think the most important thing is that you have to take confidence in in your choices and your decisions and what you do, right? And I think Jo is exemplary of that. Jo has been able to, like, you know, take their identities and take their personality and express it to the 10th degree, and that's amazing. And a lot of people can't say that, you know.
Thank you so much.
So I guess in a sentence, because you've done so many things around Sioux City and Northwest Iowa, and even within the tri-state area region, what does success mean to you?
I guess for me, it means really building yourself to who you really want to be, and really, you know, working for it. And that's such a hard question.
Yeah, it's a difficult question.
It really is.
But you are a construction person, right? You build yourself.
I felt like, it definitely is building yourself up, you know, getting yourself out there and working. Because without, you know, the work, you really can't see the success.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what growth mindset is. Growth mindset is when you put that effort. My cross country coach once said, and she didn't say it to me. Well, she said it to me. I was running, and I took off the race, and I started running as fast as I could. And she says, Victor, it's not who starts the race, it's who finishes it. And she was so right. I came in 25th. It's who finishes it. And I think that's very true. It's not how you start out, it's how you finish, right? And obviously there's a lot of barriers that go into that, being Latinx, being queer, and being undocumented before DACA, right? So I feel like there's so many barriers that you have to leap through, right? Which makes you even stronger, I think. And success is that building yourself through the work and effort that you put into building yourself up.
Absolutely.
I love that so much. So I mentioned DACA, and you are a DACA recipient.
Yes, I am.
How would you say? Would you say your DACA status has prohibited you from going to college or university, or was college or university ever even in your goal set?
It was, but I guess once I started, you know, working with makeup, it was just like a complete, like, flip. You know, like, I just was like, well, this is like a completely new world. What am I doing? You know? So I definitely thought about beauty school a couple years ago, and then I was like, no, I'll just work with makeup for now, you know? Because that's what I want to focus on. I wanted to perfect the skill. So once I kind of did that, I started working at a hair salon here in Sioux City. And that's where I really noticed my passion for hair and the beauty industry, the whole beauty industry. But I did feel like DACA, when I was younger, I did feel like it definitely I did struggle with being undocumented, because just that mindset just kind of like almost depresses you, because you feel like you're not going to be ahead of the game like everybody else, because there's that one thing holding you back.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean the resources too, right? You want to go to beauty school, and there's beauty schools that offer financial aid, like FAFSA, for example. But when you're undocumented, right, you're gonna be like, well, there's this big barrier. I'm 18. I just graduated high school.
Right.
How am I gonna pay for this?
Right.
So you really have to find different ways and maybe even resources out there. And sometimes places like Sioux City, unfortunately, there isn't the people don't have that guidance for you yet.
Exactly.
And because it's just still up and coming, I feel like.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, thank God, DACA really helped it really helped a lot of people with their growth, their self-growth, their their confidence overall.
And DACA just made that took almost the weight off of that thing that was holding your back.
Exactly.
Do you have any advice for students who are either undocumented or are DACA recipients pursuing school or pursuing their passions?
I would have to say, don't give up. I know it's really hard to say, but it's very hard to like undo and unfeel. But there's always a way. Where there's a way, where there's a will, there's a way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's gonna be a way, no matter what. But just have that like faith. Just have faith.
Yeah. What does being Latinx Iowan mean to you, or a queer Latinx Iowan mean to you?
To me, it really means like being someone to look up to, and really like showing what I'm made of, and what's the word? Showing people what I'm really about, and hopefully helping other people kind of like find their way to be themselves.
Role model.
So, exactly, like a role model. Especially with the younger generation who feel like they can't come out because their families are too old-fashioned, or they can't, they're undocumented. There's always going to be a way. There's always going to be somebody there to support you, and if you put the work into it, you'll be able to get where you want to be.
Yeah, and I know that was the last question, but I guess I do want to emphasize one point that you said is coming out and what that looks like, right? What would you say would be good advice for coming out, especially for brown and black and indigenous kids of color? Kids.
That's really hard because it's everybody has a different situation, but just know that if you ever feel like you do want to come out, tell somebody, and you'll always have somebody there to support you. Like with the gay community, we have families, biological families, but then we have our chosen family, who usually adopt you if things go bad. But there's always going to be somebody there to support you, and
it does get better.
It does get better.
Yeah. And that's the whole part of building yourself back up. And I think it really goes back to that philosophy of success. Well, thank you so much for interviewing with me today, Jo. I know my students and everyone out there is going to get a really good takes and insights from your experiences here in Iowa. And thank you.